The sky bled fire. Above Earth, the moon cracked in half. Commander Daryl Bourne stood frozen, staring at the live satellite feed. The top half of the moon, the one that had lit Earth's nights for 1 billion years, was now drifting into space like broken glass. Zarkalian warships hovered where it used to be, massive and silent, blocking out stars. "What? What did they just do?" whispered Lieutenant Vega beside him. "They made a statement," Daryl replied, voice cold. "This isn't diplomacy anymore. It's war. 2 weeks ago, the Zarcalians arrived with promises, advanced technology, peace treaties, trade partnerships. Earth's leaders welcomed them like gods, but it was a lie, a trap. They weren't visitors. They were executioners. At Fort Horizon, Earth's last orbital defense base, alarms screamed. Red lights spun across steel walls. Commanders barked orders. Soldiers ran to battle stations. Daryl stared at the tactical display. "They've taken the moon. What's next?" "Sir," Vega pointed at the screen. "Zarkalian ships are descending. Directly over New Berlin, Osaka, Cairo, and Central Command in Washington. 4 cities. 4 capitals. 4 attacks. Simultaneous." Daryl slammed his fist into the table. "They're not invading. They're wiping us out." "Commander," a voice came through the comms. "We've lost contact with Earth Command. We're on our own." In space, the Zarkalian fleet moved like a swarm of giants. Their ships were black like obsidian, shaped like razors, humming with alien power. Inside the largest one sat Lady Valerie Nex, supreme strategist of the Zarkalian Empire. Her skin shimmered deep blue, her silver eyes calm as a storm. "Phase 1 is complete," her officer reported. "Earth's moon is destroyed. Their satellites are falling. Civilian panic is spreading." Valerie didn't blink. "Good. Fear softens the will. Bring me a human commander alive. I want to see how long their defiance lasts when everything burns." Back on Earth, Daryl's voice cut through the chaos. "All units, activate planetary defense grid. Do not wait for approval. Fire at will!" Fort Horizon's railguns roared to life, shooting piercing rounds into the sky. Plasma turrets lit the clouds with green lightning. "But the Zarkalian shields didn't even flicker. They're adapting too fast," yelled a soldier. "It's like they're learning every time we fire." "Then stop firing the same way," Daryl snapped. "Use unpredictable patterns. Target weak points. Aim for joints, wings, anything unstable." But even as he gave the order, a deafening explosion rocked the base. Part of the command tower collapsed in flames. Smoke and screams filled the air. "Sir," Vega coughed. "They've breached the west gate." "Pull back," Daryl yelled. "Seal the east corridor. Get the wounded out." A blast sent him flying. He landed hard, head spinning, ears ringing. As he tried to get up, he saw the shadow, not a human, not one of theirs. An armored figure stepped through the fire, taller than any man, skin shimmering like metal, eyes glowing white. It didn't speak. It didn't have to. The moment Daryl saw it, he knew. He was prey. The creature raised a weapon, but instead of firing, it released a pulse of energy. Daryl's world twisted. Colors bled together, then darkness. He woke in chains, inside a glass cell glowing faint blue, floating somewhere far from Earth. Outside the glass, stars drifted past. Lady Valerie Nex stood watching him. Arms behind. Daryl Bourne woke to silence. Not the silence of peace, but the kind that pressed against your ears like deep water. He was floating. A thin mist filled the glass pod around him, glowing with soft blue light. Strange patterns pulsed along the walls, alive like veins under skin. He tried to move, nothing. His arms and legs were locked in a magnetic field. He wasn't on Earth anymore. Subject 12A, human, male, high neural activity. Strong resistance. The voice echoed from nowhere and everywhere. Calm, artificial, watching. He was being studied. His mind flashed with memories. The moon splitting. Fort Horizon burning. The silver-eyed alien woman with a voice like a storm. Lady Valerie Nex. She hadn't killed him, which meant she wanted something. Outside the pod, Valerie stood with 2 scientists. One tapped a glowing panel, while the other held a slender, bone-white scanner. "This one has potential," the scientist said. "His DNA is adapting faster than expected." "Of course it is," Valerie replied. Humans are chaos, fire wrapped in flesh, unstable. But interesting. She stepped forward, gazing at Daryl through the glass. Can you hear me, Commander? He stared back. His eyes said it all. You will not break me. Valerie smiled faintly. Your body lies. But your mind screams. Let's see how deep the fire goes. Suddenly, the pod walls dissolved. The mist vanished. Daryl dropped to the floor, coughing, disoriented, but free. Weapons were useless here. So were threats. He had nothing but words. What do you want? He growled. Valerie circled him slowly, like a lioness testing a new prey. Understanding. Your species fights like no other we've encountered. You should have surrendered. Instead, you bled the sky. She paused in front of him. You interest me. I'm not here for your curiosity, he said. No, she agreed. You're here because I spared you. A gift most of your kind did not receive. Suddenly, the walls around them changed, becoming a simulation, a battlefield. Earth's battlefield. Smoke, explosions, broken bodies. Valerie walked through the projection like a ghost. You call us monsters, invaders, but your kind. You burn your own cities for oil. You poison your seas. You make war for sport, she turned. So tell me, Commander Bourne, what makes humans worth saving? Daryl stepped closer, eyes locked with hers. Because when we fight, it's not for greed. It's for survival, for family, for the kid trapped under rubble, the mother waiting in an evac camp, the soldier who holds the line even when all hope is gone. He jabbed a finger at her chest. That's what makes us human. We fight for each other. For a moment, Valerie said nothing. Then her voice softened. Maybe. That's what makes you dangerous. Meanwhile, on Earth. Deep beneath the ruins of Fort Horizon, the Omega Protocol had awakened, and Project Razer, a forgotten experiment from Earth's darkest hours, was now active. A sleek, humanoid figure emerged from a cryopod, armor fused with alien tech. Its eyes lit up blue. Its voice echoed through the chamber. Target confirmed. Zarkalian Empire. Mission retaliation, a hidden voice from the control room whispered. God help them. It's awake. Back aboard the alien ship, Daryl sat in a sleek metallic chamber. No longer a prisoner, but not quite a guest. Valerie had returned alone. No gods, no armor. Just her and a question. Tell me, Commander, she said, pouring 2 glasses of a glowing drink. Have you ever wondered why we chose Earth? Daryl didn't answer. We scanned hundreds of planets. Yours wasn't the richest or the strongest, but something in your biology resonated. You fight harder, heal faster, you evolve. She slid the glass toward him. You're not prey. You're raw power waiting to be claimed. Claimed by who? He asked. Her voice dropped to a whisper. By whatever dares to bond with it. Daryl leaned back, suddenly aware that this was. Daryl Bourne woke up burning, not in fire, not in pain, but something inside him was alive. He lay on a bed in a dark chamber, sweat on his skin, muscles twitching. His veins glowed faintly blue under the surface. Every breath he took felt sharper, louder, as if his lungs were learning how to breathe again, but for something more than air. He gripped the edge of the bed. His strength had changed. His heartbeat, no longer normal. And then he saw it, his reflection in the polished wall. His eyes were glowing. A soft voice came from the corner. You're adapting faster than I expected. Lady Valerie Nex stood in the shadows. Arms folded, eyes unreadable. What did you do to me? Daryl demanded, standing up unsteady. I didn't do anything, she said, stepping into the light. Your body is doing this on its own. You're changing, he shook his head. No, I'm human. Whatever this is, it is still human, she said gently. Just upgraded. Valerie approached slowly, like one would approach a wild creature. Do you remember the gas we used when we took your base? It was meant to paralyze your soldiers, shut down the nervous system. And? Daryl asked. It should have killed you. She looked at him like a puzzle. But it didn't, yourself. Fought back. They adapted. She picked up a glowing scanner from the table and tossed it to him. See for yourself. He looked at the data. Blood cells, enhanced. Reflexes, 3x baseline. Cognitive response, accelerating. You're becoming something new, Valerie whispered. And I think I know why. Back on Earth, deep underground. Project Razer was moving. The humanoid figure, human by design, alien by function, walked through the ruins of Fort Horizon. Its voice echoed through comms. Target acquired. Zarkalian command ship. Coordinates uploaded. Inside its artificial brain, a face appeared. Commander Daryl Bourne. Primary objective updated. Protect the Firebearer at all costs. Back in the Zarkalian ship, Daryl stood in the center of a vast chamber. All around him were projections, holographic maps, DNA helixes, and something else. Ancient carvings. Not human. Not Zarkalian. Symbols that glowed when he passed. He stopped. "What is this?" Valerie's voice echoed behind him. "These are not from our world. They're older than us both." She touched the symbols. They pulsed under her fingers. "We discovered them a century ago, hidden beneath the surface of a dead planet. They speak of a prophecy." "A prophecy?" Daryl said, raising an eyebrow. Valerie nodded. "Of a fire-born human, who would awaken when pushed beyond death. One who could either unite the galaxy or burn it." She turned to him. "And now you glow like the ancient texts describe." Daryl laughed bitterly. "So I'm a glowing prophecy now?" Valerie didn't smile. "I think you're more than that." He stepped back. "Why tell me this now?" "Because your own people might fear you once they find out what you're becoming." She paused. "But I won't." A sharp alarm rang through the ship. Zarkalian officers rushed past the chamber, shouting in their language. Valerie touched her comm crystal. "What is it?" Daryl asked. She listened. Her face changed. "Your planet just activated Project Razer." Daryl froze. "That program was shut down decades ago." "Apparently not," she said. "And it's coming here." He felt a chill crawl up his spine. Project Razer was Earth's last line of defense, an experimental soldier made with alien tech and no moral limits. "They think I'm compromised," Daryl whispered. "No," Valerie said. "They think you're not human anymore." Suddenly the ship rocked with impact. Red lights flashed. The ship's AI screamed warnings. "Unidentified object has breached outer hull. Moving fast. Power unknown." Valerie's eyes widened. "It's already here." She turned to Daryl. "You need to decide now. Are you going to run or take control of what's inside you?" Daryl clenched his fists. His arms pulsed with heat. He could feel something in his blood. Power, waiting to be called. "I don't run," he said. "Not anymore." Project Razer didn't speak. It calculated. It learned. It killed, built in secret, trained in silence, forgotten by Earth's leaders, but never shut down. Now it had awakened, and it had a name glowing red on its visor. Commander Daryl Bourne, classified as contaminated. Status: eliminate or contain aboard the Zarkalian flagship. Emergency sirens echoed across every deck. Soldiers scrambled. Security fields lit up, but none of it mattered. Razer had already entered. It moved like smoke and steel, unseen, unstoppable. The first Zarkalian patrol it encountered didn't even scream. One by one they collapsed, their armor sliced with terrifying precision. Life forms detected. Non-hostile companion, Lady Valerie Nex. Primary target, Commander Daryl Bourne. Engage at 70% force level? Razer marched toward the inner chamber. Every door opened before it. Not because it hacked the system, but because the ship was afraid. Meanwhile, Daryl stood in the middle of the biocore room, his hands glowing faint blue, his breath shallow. Valerie placed a hand on his chest. "Your heart rate is too high." "No kidding," he muttered. "Something's coming. And it knows me." "Project Razer," she whispered. "We intercepted its signal. It was never decommissioned. I helped design its combat logic," Daryl said, "but it was never meant to hunt allies." "You're not considered an ally anymore," Valerie said softly. "You're something new, something Earth didn't authorize." The lights in the chamber flickered, then dimmed. The ship's AI stuttered in fear. "Warning, unknown entity breaching level 3, threat level, Omega." Daryl stepped back. His instincts kicked in. "He's close." The door behind them exploded. No flash, no sound, just gone. And through the smoke, it walked in. Project Razer. Its frame was humanoid but wrong, sleek and armored in black liquid metal. Its face showed no expression. Just a single red vertical line down its visor, scanning. Daryl born, it said in a flat tone. Biological integrity compromised. Alien influence detected. Execute retrieval. Valerie raised her weapon. He's under Zarkalian protection, not recognized. Razer stepped forward. Move aside or be neutralized. Daryl raised his hands slowly. Razer, stand down. Protocol 117A. I'm still human. Invalid command, the machine replied. Humanity requires purity. You are now something else. Daryl's body tensed. That fire inside him, the glow, the strength, it rose again. This time stronger. Hungrier. Valerie whispered, You'll have to fight it. I can't beat Razer, he said. I built it to win, then become something it was never trained for. She touched his chest. Unpredictable! Razer lunged. The machine was fast, blindingly fast. But this time, so was Daryl. He dodged the strike, his movements no longer fully human. Blue light pulsed from his arms as he grabbed Razer and threw it through a wall. Shock filled his chest, not just from the power, but from the realization he had just hurt Earth's deadliest weapon. Razer recovered instantly, standing up with eerie calm. Analysis. Subject now possesses hybrid traits. Threat level upgraded. Valerie activated her energy blade and joined Daryl. You're not alone in this. They fought side by side, human and alien, flowing in perfect sync. Razer's attacks were brutal, surgical. But Daryl and Valerie was something else now. Their bond pulsed like music, like electricity. They read each other's moves. They shared each other's fear. They fought like one mind, but Razer never tires, never fears, never quits. After a brutal exchange, it pinned Daryl to the wall with a blade of pure energy. You were Earth's defender, it said. Now you are its risk. Then maybe Earth should rethink who its heroes are, Daryl growled. In that moment, Earth didn't greet him with applause. Commander Daryl Bourne returned not as a hero, but as a problem. The moment his ship touched down at Luna Base, Earth's outer defense station, soldiers surrounded him. Guns drawn, faces cold. Commander Bourne, you are ordered to stand down. Behind him, Lady Valerie Nex stepped off the ramp, her silver eyes calm but alert. The soldiers raised their weapons higher. Hostile alien detected, one shouted. Prepare containment. Valerie didn't flinch. Try it, and you'll need new hands. Daryl raised both arms. Everyone, lower your weapons. She's not the threat. Not anymore. A senior officer stepped forward. General Arlen Pierce, a man Daryl had trained under years ago. Pierce stared at him with pure disappointment. Then who is Commander? Because right now, the biggest unknown on Earth is you. Hours later, in a cold, gray interrogation chamber, Daryl sat across from Earth's top brass. Behind glass, scientists, diplomats, even a few shadowy intelligence faces he didn't recognize. And beside him, Valerie, calm as ever, though Daryl could feel the tension behind her stillness. Their bond made hiding emotions impossible now. A voice boomed from the ceiling. We've reviewed your scans. Your DNA is no longer fully human. You glow. You heal too fast. You took down Project Razer, so tell us, Commander Bourne. What are you now? He leaned forward, still human. Just upgraded. Because you trained me to survive. And I did, Valerie added. And he did it by working with the one species you fear most. Me. The room froze. She smiled faintly. Yes, we bonded. No, not romantically. Biologically, spiritually, energetically. Choose your word. A scientist behind the glass whispered to her neighbor. Daryl saw it. Heard it, thanks to the enhancements in his brain. They created a bridge. If this spreads, he cut in. That's the real fear, isn't it? Not war, not aliens. The fear that we might actually become something new, something better. Meanwhile, in the Zarkalian High Council chamber, a different fear was growing. The Council had just received a secret message from a Zarkalian spy embedded on Earth. It was a name, Valerie Nex. She has crossed the line. She has bonded. And if the bond stabilizes, she becomes the voice of the future. Kill her now, or lose the Empire. Back on Earth, Daryl stood before Earth's leaders. They had heard enough. You brought an enemy into our house, General Pierce snapped. And now we're supposed to believe you've made some magical peace pact. Valerie stood. Not peace, alliance. She pressed a small crystal on her wrist. A projection appeared, showing hidden Zarkalian logs, battle orders, target cities. Secret experiments. Gasps filled the room. These were never approved by our full government, Valerie said. This invasion was never about peace. It was about testing humans. And some of you let it happen, Daryl added, glaring at the officials. You made secret deals, gave them data, closed your eyes until cities burned. The room descended into chaos. Voices shouted. Accusations flew, but Daryl and Valerie were already gone. Slipped out through a side corridor using an override code only high-level officers knew. How did you know that code would still work? Valerie asked as they moved fast. I didn't, Daryl said. But I had to try. We're out of time. In orbit, something massive blinked into existence. No sound. No warning. A black vessel shaped like a blade. Unmarked. Untouchable. Zarkalian Royal Enforcer class ship. Only used for one purpose. Assassinations approved by the High Council. And their target, Lady Valerie Nex. They didn't knock. They never do. Zarkalian assassins never announce themselves. They simply arrive. Unseen, unheard, unstoppable. And when they do, someone always dies. Inside the lunar base medical wing, Valerie Nex sat beside Daryl's resting body. He was unconscious, recovering from the last psychic overload. His skin glowed faintly. Even now, in sleep, he was changing. She touched his hand. The bond between them pulsed. Not weak, not broken, but threatened. She felt them coming. Not through sensors, not through doors, but through the silence. Too silent, like the air itself was holding its breath. Her fingers tightened on Daryl's. Wake up, she whispered. They're here. Far above Earth, the Zarkalian Royal Enforcer ship hovered in low orbit. No lights, no engines, just black glass against black space. Inside, 3 shadows knelt in a triangle. Their bodies shimmered in black armor. No faces, no names. Only code designations. Ghost, Pale, Thorn, a high priest of the Zarkalian Empire, stood before them, speaking in a voice like broken wind. You are to sever the bond. Kill the traitor Valerie Nex. Neutralize the firebearer. The prophecy must end here. The assassins did not answer. They simply vanished. Back on Luna Base, Valerie felt the floor vibrate. One pulse. Then another. Her eyes turned silver white. Too late. They were already inside. Daryl woke to the sound of glass cracking. He sat up fast. Vision blurry, mind sharp. Valerie was gone. The chair was empty. Then he saw the mark. 3 tiny lines carved into the floor. Old Zarkalian death glyphs. Kill the bond. He stood. And suddenly, he heard her. Not through sound. Through the bond, Daryl! Run! In the upper levels of Luna Base, Valerie was on the move. She ducked under a blade that moved like shadow. Rolled. Fired back. Missed. Cowards! She growled, eyes glowing brighter. You come in silence, but I know you're sent. A whisper in the air. Then die with your mistake. Daryl sprinted through the halls, guards yelling at him. Commander, stop! You're under quarantine. He didn't stop. He followed the pulse in his chest, the pull of the bond. Every door opened before him, not by command, but by force of will, his will. He found her in the observation deck, bleeding, surrounded, still fighting. 3 assassins circled her like wolves. Their blades shimmered. One already had her blood on his knife. Valerie! He shouted. All 3 turned to face him. In that moment, the room shifted. The assassins sensed it too. The glow in his eyes. The hum in the air. Ghost whispered. He's activated, Pale replied. Then we sever the bond together. They attacked. What followed was not a fight. It was a storm. Valerie and Daryl moved as one. Blades met blue fire. Shadows met sound. He struck faster than his brain could think. She dodged with the grace of instinct. Together, they weren't 2 fighters. They were the bond itself in motion, one mind. One flame, 2 souls, but assassins don't fear death. They accept it, and Pale was willing to die to win. He lunged with a self-detonating blade, aimed not at Daryl, but at Valerie's reproductive pouch, the very center of the bond. Daryl saw it. Too far. Too fast. Unless... They didn't knock. They never do. Zarkalian assassins never announce themselves. They simply arrive, unseen, unheard, unstoppable. And when they do, someone always dies. Inside the Luna Base medical wing, Valerie Nex sat beside Daryl's resting body. He was unconscious, recovering from the last psychic overload. His skin glowed faintly. Even now, in sleep, he was changing. She touched his hand. The bond between them pulsed. Not weak, not broken, but threatened. She felt them coming. Not through sensors, not through doors, but through the silence. Too silent, like the air itself was holding its breath. Her fingers tightened on Daryl's. "Wake up," she whispered. They're here. Far above Earth, the Zarkalian Royal Enforcer ship hovered in low orbit. No lights, no engines. Just black glass against black space. Inside, 3 shadows knelt in a triangle. Their bodies shimmered in black armor. No faces, no names. Only code designations. Ghost, Pale, Thorn, a high priest of the Zarkalian Empire, stood before them, speaking in a voice like broken wind. You are to sever the bond. Kill the traitor Valerie Nex. Neutralize the fire-bearer. The prophecy must end here. The assassins did not answer. They simply vanished. Back on Luna Base, Valerie felt the floor vibrate. One pulse. Then another. Her eyes turned silver white. Too late. They were already inside. Daryl woke to the sound of glass cracking. He sat up fast, vision blurry, mind sharp. Valerie was gone. The chair was empty. Then he saw the mark. 3 tiny lines carved into the floor. Old Zarkalian death glyphs. Kill the bond. He stood. And suddenly, he heard her. Not through sound. Through the bond. Daryl, run! In the upper levels of Luna Base, Valerie was on the move. She ducked under a blade that moved like shadow, rolled, fired back, missed. Cowards, she growled, eyes glowing brighter. You come in silence, but I know you're sent. A whisper in the air. Then die with your mistake. Daryl sprinted through the halls, guards yelling at him. Commander, stop. You're under quarantine. He didn't stop. He followed the pulse in his chest. The pull of the bond. Every door opened before him, not by command, but by force of will. His will. He found her in the observation deck, bleeding, surrounded, still fighting. 3 assassins circled her like wolves. Their blades shimmered. One already had her blood on his knife. Valerie, he shouted. All 3 turned to face him. In that moment, the room shifted. The assassins sensed it too. The glow in his eyes. The hum in the air. Ghost whispered. He's activated, Pale replied. Then we sever the bond together. They attacked. What followed was not a fight. It was a storm. Valerie and Daryl moved as one. Blades met blue fire. Shadows met sound. He struck faster than his brain could think. She dodged with the grace of instinct. Together, they weren't 2 fighters. They were the bond itself in motion, one mind, one flame. 2 souls, but assassins don't fear death. They accept it. And Pale was willing to die to win. He lunged with a self-detonating blade, aimed not at Daryl, but at Valerie's reproductive pouch, the very center of the bond. Daryl saw it. Too far, too fast, unless... He released the limit. His body exploded in a wave of blue-white energy. Time slowed. Light twisted. The blade hit air. Valerie lived. But Daryl... He collapsed, breathing, alive, but drained. Valerie screamed his name, her voice shaking walls. Thorn stepped forward. Blade raised, one last kill to complete the mission, then stopped. He saw Valerie's eyes glowing brighter than stars. He saw her hands rise, trembling. And then he felt it.